Hi. Today I want to talk to you a little about election fallout because it's kind of affecting me. Is it affecting you? You know, there's been a lot of controversy and diversions and divisiveness and misinformation and opinions that we don't share going on in this election, but it's over now and we have a new president. But I still feel like people are wrapped up in the fight and it's really affecting people. Some of my friends reached out to me and asked if it was safe to come to lunch the next day after the election. They were worried about, I don't know, maybe pomp and circumstance from the winners, or I don't know what they were worried about, but I just thought it was an odd question. And on top of everything else we have to deal with, being single after 50, we need to add this to it. So there were just two examples that I'd like to bring to your attention to consider this week. As you're going through your week, I think we're feeling this, maybe three examples. We're feeling this as a community, as a society, as a country, in a variety of ways. And whether it's being spoken or expressed in any way, there's an undercurrent of what's going to happen. And look at all this craziness and all this change. And we humans are not very good with change to begin with. And all of this pounded on us at once is kind of seems to be throwing us older people off kilter. All right, so the first example was yesterday I was listening to a financial report, and the reporter was pointing out that, you know, it's only been a few days after the election, a couple of weeks, somewhere in there, and the markets have changed dramatically. There has not been enough time for anything to change. Nothing happened. The only thing that made that market change and made things increase, improve, move in the ways that they did was a group of people that believe strongly that that's what's going to happen. When people have a sense of optimism, the market will move in a positive direction. And that's the only thing that's happened. Nothing physical. Only our beliefs. Makes you think about how powerful your beliefs are, doesn't it? I know mine are. I've created amazing things in my life. But I digress. We'll get into that in another video. Anyway, nothing has happened. So keep that in mind when you hear all this news and all these reports that might be scaring you. You might not feel comfortable about what's going on after the election, who to trust, who not. So many people are asking, I wonder if they voted for Trump. Why? That's another form of prejudice. Let it go. We're on the other side now. We have to move forward in some way that's productive for our own individual health, our own individual goals, and our own individual happiness. The right to pursue happiness, right? Okay, that's the first example. The second example happened this morning. I was walking my dog in the park. There is a leash law. I have a leash. It's invisible. She has a collar. I have a remote. She is 99.9% trained to that remote. I mean, I would trust her as much as I would trust myself in most situations. 99.5. 99.9. Whoops. Anyway, we were out walking and my dog was ignoring her dogs as she usually does. Well, I thought everything was okay until I heard her dogs bark. I turned to look what happened and she was on the ground and she screamed out, "Do you know there's a leash law in this park?" And I was concerned and wanted to reach out and help her. And I had my hand out to her. She was on the ground. Fortunately, she fell on dirt and not rocks. But I just calmly said to her, "My dog is on a leash. It is an invisible leash. She is 100% controlled this whole time. Your dog saw my dog. Your dog leapt at my dog to get to my dog and pulled you, and you fell. Your dog is on a leash, but it needs to be controlled on the leash to keep you safe. May I please help you get up? The woman didn't know what to say, and I was kind of surprised that I just clearly explained that it was kind of her responsibility that she felt. It really was her responsibility, not kind of. So she started talking to me, and she said, I'm not really angry at you. I'm angry at the other guy that leaves his dog off a leash and lets him run wherever they want. I can see your dog is controlled. So we need to update the leash laws, but that's another subject. We'll get into that later too. By the time we were done talking, we introduced each other. We had a little chat about the challenges of having dogs on leashes, off leashes, in the park. How do we handle that? She knows her dogs are too much for her. She spoke that several times. And by the end of our conversation, she said, it was so nice to meet with you. It was so nice to meet you. And I said the same thing to her. Now, when you unpack all of that, she was mad at me because of somebody else. She knows her dogs are dangerous to her. I forgot to mention, she's probably a 70, 75-year-old woman. She knows that she shouldn't have two dogs. She mentioned that her son said she probably shouldn't have two dogs. She knows all that. But immediately, she jumped out and blamed it on me. Okay? And I could have gotten defensive and said, no, it's your fault, blah, 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 blah. But carefully, quietly, calmly, with compassion, empathy, and a spirit of helping, we were able to get through it and build a bridge. I don't know how she feels about the election. I don't know if she's a Trump supporter, a Biden supporter, a Kamala supporter. I don't know if she didn't vote. I don't know if she's worried about the way her kids vote. That's another thing. Like, people are asking, I don't know how to deal with my sister because she voted on the other side. It's another election. It's crazy, yes. It's a lot different than the other elections, but it's still another election. And now that we're on the other side, we need to go back to the business of taking care of each other and taking care of ourselves. And with just those two examples, just look at what happens to you through the day and take a moment and think about what is really happening. Is that person lashing out at you? Do they have road rage, or are they having a bad day because they're worried about the election, or because you did something wrong? Could be a little of both, but don't rule out how much the election is happening underneath all of your relationships. Take care of yourself. Take care of your relationships. Food for thought today. Thanks for joining. As always, thank you for the love and the comments. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. And keep on watching, and we'll keep talking. Bye.